Well, if everybody can hear me, give us a thumbs up, please. Does it look good? Ricky, all right. Welcome. We're going to have fun tonight. We've got some great customer reviews. We've got some good questions. Christine is watching and is going to be fielding some questions and getting some questions to us and helping us out. I've got Brooklyn behind on the camera here. Thanks, Ricky. And my daughter Liberty. We're going to take you through the advanced 20-minute program that's on the Mr. Rebounder app. So make sure you have your Cellercisers ready to go. I know being at home and cooped up has been a challenge for a lot of us. And as this virus continues to grow through the country, I know that it's going to affect a lot of people that we know and that we love and care about. So we're hoping that these programs and the exercise routines are going to be helpful and healthful for those who have a chance to participate. So if you know anybody and they are needing some kind of a health and fitness program, please share the Cellercise program with them. Let me start off by reading some customer reviews. This one comes from Casa, Australia. It says, love my Cellerciser. We've had it for almost 15 years and it gets better and better. I only wish we have the trifle so we could travel with it, exclamation point. Thank you for creating such a great quality product. Well, thank you. 15 years, that's, you've been part of the family for quite a while. So thank you for sharing. I bought your Cellerciser about a year and a half ago. This just came out a couple days ago. And I've been bouncing on it every day. I've been watching various YouTube rebounder videos during the time and noticed that my body was firming up a bit in places, but never really had the results I thought I should have by now. I think we read this last week. 2 weeks ago, I discovered there are various Mr. Rebounder routines on your YouTube and have been doing different ones daily. In the past 2 weeks, I've received faster results and have noticed more changes in my body than I have in the last year and a half using those other routines. Now, this just came out a few days ago. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for not compromising your rebounder. It is truly a health changer. I hope to design more workouts. Kindly, Linda. Linda, thank you for sharing that. All right, I've got a couple more that are, well, let's read this one first. Dear David, this comes from Robin. She says, I was reading your list of benefits of rebounding and have a few of my own that I would like to add or question you about. I've been rebounding regularly for the past 7 or 8 weeks since I lost my job due to COVID-19 because I'm housebound and spend a lot of time on the computer. I make it a point to bounce every hour, even if it's just for 2 minutes. That's a wise thing to do. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, but it's not a lot. I'm a woman in my 60s and I deal with a lot of aches and pains. What I've noticed since I started bouncing regularly is 2 main things. Number 1, I no longer have Charlie horses in my legs or my feet on a nightly basis, sometimes so debilitating that I want to cry. I'm glad you are sharing these customer reviews with us. We just had another gentleman ask us about the same thing, so this hopefully will be helpful. Number 2, I no longer suffer from plantar fasciitis. It always hurt the most when my feet would first hit the floor in the morning. I want to contribute this to rebounding, but I also realize that because I'm not at work and I'm at home and not walking on concrete floors all day, and to be fair, this might be the reason why these 2 things are better. What do you think, Mr. David Holm? Could rebounding be the reason why it is more fair to say it's the concrete floors? Hope to hear back from you, Robin. Robin, we've had several customer reviews just like yours, and the Cellerciser does promote circulation, helps reduce the inflammation, and helps to strengthen the supporting muscles and ligaments, especially around the feet. So as you're continuing to do that, your feet are not just in a stagnant position, they're actually moving in various different angles to support your movements, and that helps increase the flexibility of our feet. Plantar fasciitis, a lot of that is caused from the restriction in the foot because of the shoes we constantly wear, and then we go out and try to do something strenuous, and the muscles and ligaments are not flexible enough to be able to handle that, and so we can literally tear them. So the Cellerciser helps promote that flexibility. Okay, Rex, I'm looking forward to reading this one. It's a little long, so gives people time to call those who you know who you want to get on the Cellerciser or want to experience what we're about to go through. So, it says, I hope you are well. In some ways, my Cellerciser journey began over 45 years ago when my aunt was in the company that sold rebounders, and she gave me one. I used it for a while and enjoyed it, but I was young and macho, so I eventually gave it up for miles of running and other excessive types of training and crash dieting. I carried this regimen on through the years, and I now have an artificial hip and 2 artificial knees. I'm not complaining. I thank the Lord for good doctors and the technology that allows me to not be a total cripple. I retired from teaching and coaching a few years ago, 42-year career, and I realized I had given more concern to my athletes and students than myself. Almost a year ago, I finally had the moment where I had a very serious conversation with the man in the mirror. I had a physical. I weighed. Oh, is it too loud or? Is that better? Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, I had a physical. I weighed 411 pounds. My AC1 was almost 10. My blood pressure was 170/95. My cholesterol was through the roof as well. I was taking medication for all these things already, and my physician wanted me to take more, including adding shots of insulin. I simply said I was not going to do that and that I would take care of the problem. Actually, that was not that bright, but I was finally fed up. I would not recommend anyone do that, but I knew myself, and my problem has never been not knowing what to do, but rather simply doing it. That evening I went home and I prayed that the Lord would give me strength to proceed and be with me as I went. That's a good foundation. The next day I began doing it. I started slowly. I made the decision that initially I would set a goal of working out 4 times per week. I could work out more days, but the baseline was 4. I figured that if I said I was doing it every day, I was setting myself up to fail because sometimes cares of life get in the way. The first day I did 15 easy minutes on a treadmill and 15 easy minutes on a bike. The next day I did that again and added a few rounds of 3 to 5 exercise with light weights that I have at work, at home, and ATRX. I would do the walking and riding at least 4 times a week, and on at least 2 of those days I would add other exercises. I also tried to cut down on sugar and other bad carbs, but I did not deny myself of everything. I would only sauna 3 to 4 times per week. I would also sauna. I did all of this for a month and was under 400 pounds and feeling better. I was ready to work a bit harder, so I alternated days of biking and walking with 2 of my biking days, including some intervals, and 1 of my walks being a longer one. I started going to our local club and began a reasonable lifting program twice a week. It's important to understand this because a lot of people have been through this same type of thing in the process of discovering what Cellercise can do. So he goes on. I began some bouts of intermittent fasting and watching my carbs a bit closer. I was feeling better and better. I also added one thing, a rebounder. I still had the one my aunt gave me stored in the garage. Each day after my workout, I would bounce, not all that hard, for 5 to 10 minutes, and I found that it made me recover better. I also began revisiting the benefits of rebounding, and I discovered your material on YouTube. As I watched and studied, I decided that a Cellerciser would be much better than the unit I had. I noticed that the suggested maximum weight for the Cellerciser was 350 pounds, so I kept working with the goal of getting to the point where I could use a Cellerciser. Finally, when I got to the point where I could use a Cellerciser, finally, when I got to September, I was near 350 pounds and I ordered a Cellerciser. We've had people over 400 pounds use it very successfully, by the way. You're not going to be jumping high when you weigh that much, but it's a great way to build up the supporting muscles and ligaments around the knees and the hips without jarring or damaging your joints. When it came, the unit was even better than I imagined. I started using it after my workouts, but then decided I would get on it every morning, and so I began playing. Remember, we don't work out, we play in. I love it. Playing on the Cellerciser for 5 to 10 minutes every morning. It only took a few sessions before I was looking forward to getting on the unit each morning because I felt so good after I did it. If I felt stiff when I got out of bed, the Cellerciser took care of that. I can tell you that I have done a lot of physical things over the years that have damaged my body, and I have a lot of orthopedic issues. But 100% of the time, when I get off the Cellerciser, I feel better, even when I hit it hard.
Since I received the Cellerciser, I've continued to work out. I've replaced one walking session with Cellerciser and added another Cellerciser session. These are in addition to my morning ritual. I am now down to 300 pounds and maintaining that while I'm stuck in the house due to COVID-19. I am on the Cellerciser every day. It not only helps me physically, but mentally, the benefits are huge. And that's good for when you're stuck at home. I plan to let my body lose some more weight once this lock-in is over. Right before the lockdown, I had a doctor's appointment. My AC is at 5.2. My cholesterol and other blood markers are all excellent. My blood pressure has been in the 120/75 range for 2 to 3 months now. The benefits I've gotten from rebounding and a healthier lifestyle are simply phenomenal. If I was still coaching, I would have several Cellercisers in my wrestling room for warm-up, recovery, and conditioning, as well as for training around injuries. And it's interesting because I've worked with a number of coaches that are wrestling coaches, and their students have done phenomenal incorporating the Cellerciser. I have someone here in my town that I train on the Cellerciser, and his senior year, he went on to win state. And you have to ask yourself, well, when you're balanced and you're exercising in a totally balanced state, with not just muscles, with the fascia and everything else, it's going to be hard to throw somebody like that off balance because not many people exercise in a totally balanced state. So he goes on and he says, I've worked with a lot of young athletes, and one group that I think would benefit immensely from the Cellercisers is female athletes. They have an inordinate number of ACL tears, and I think working on the Cellerciser would strengthen the muscular and ligamental structure of their knees in ways that traditional weight training cannot touch. Now, this is an expert. This is a guy who's been a coach, who's been involved with this for 45 years saying this. If I could go back in time, I would base my fitness program on rebounding, which is what I am moving towards as I approach my post-work life. Cellerciser has helped me get healthy. You have helped me as well, Dave. I have watched your YouTube videos and learned a great deal from you. Plus, the motivation you provide in your presentations is priceless. Thanks for your help. I'm so sorry this is so long. There's actually much more because God has really transformed me and blessed me along the way in this journey, but maybe another time. By the way, I'm 63 years old. Sincerely, Rex. Rex, you and I are in the same club. These customer reviews, there are so many of them. We get them all the time. I want you to feel free to go to our website and read if you haven't. Spend a little time reading some of the customer reviews on our site. If you go to cellercise.com/reviews, it'll take you right there. This is another story, and I got to read it to you because there's a lot of you right now that need to hear this, and it's going to take a little bit more time, but Christine discovered this. I know this lady. She is amazing, and she has been a strong advocate of our program for quite a while. And she says, this is my story. When I quit traditional exercise and turned to Cellercising. Her name is Donna. I don't lift any weights, stretch, or do abs anymore. I've been Cellercising 3 years and 6 months. I Cellercise 1 hour a day, and I try to work out 7 days, but sometimes I only work out 5 or 6 days. I used to be a fitness instructor many moons ago, but when I gave that up, I still did cardio for an hour a day. I mostly ran, did aerobics or turbo jam, and I tried to do that daily as well. I also did about 15 minutes of stretching and 20 minutes of abs, and I would do weights 3 to 4 times a week as well. So as you can tell, I spent a lot of time having to work out to stay in shape. I have always been very lean, and working out gave me shape, tone, and definition. However, since about 2009, my hormones were imbalanced because of stress. Every time I got stressed, of course, my blood pressure went up, and I started to get this roll around the mid-center, the muffin top, which I had never had before in my life. I would really work out hard during my cardio to get rid of it, but it kept coming back due to stress. Because I was under such stress, my body was becoming very toxic. That is what stress does to the body, especially with emotional stress. Not only that, but we were exposed to toxins from our food, water, air, and what we put in our bodies daily. And by this time, no matter what I did, I could hardly get rid of this roll. So I started to accept it and dress accordingly. During this time, I was schooling to get my second nutrition diploma, and it was all about health at the cellular level. They kept talking about Cellercising, but they didn't say this was a specific rebounder, so I assumed any rebounder was fine, as they didn't elaborate. I ended up buying 8 cheap rebounders, and each one of them broke within a 3-month time, and I ended up hurting my one knee and foot, which had previous injuries from running. I called my instructor to get more info about rebounders and specifically the Cellerciser, and he directed me to the website. I researched it very thoroughly and everything made sense as to what I had already learned about our cells. But I also was so programmed to follow traditional exercise and the no pain, no gain attitude. I am not a risk taker, but because it all made sense, I ordered my first Cellerciser. When it arrived, I had to wear my runners for about a week while I jumped because my foot and knee. After 4 days, my roll around my mid-center was gone and has never come back. My foot and knee healed, and I could wear bare feet. I never felt more energized, and I felt like I had unplugged my lymphatic system and actually felt like I did when I was about 14 years of age. I can relate to that. I had not realized just how crappy I had felt, pushing my way through life and forcing myself to do things. Now I felt alive and ready to live life. Although I have still had some very severe stress in my life, I've been able to manage it and still feel healthy because of the Cellerciser. I love what the Cellerciser did for me, and I wanted to share it with my clients and anyone else that was concerned about their health. So that is when I ordered them in and started telling people about them. I'm not a salesperson, and it is not about making money, but about helping people feel like I do. I'm not a salesperson, and it's not about making money, she repeats it, but about helping people feel the way I do. Okay, there is a reason why I have told you my whole story, but I had to tell you all this first so you understood. Because of the Cellerciser, I no longer have to be concerned about the weather, and if I can run or motivate myself to work out, it is obvious I save a lot of time. Cellercising, no more stretching. Abs or weights, I can do it all in 1 hour, and my cardio and lymphatic pumping system as well. I manage my blood pressure and my roll. The point is, I'm in better shape with less time working out just because of the Cellerciser. As you can see, I'll show you this in a moment, she's knockout. As you can see, I have muscle tone and definition. But I've not done weights for 3 years and 6 months now, and I have maintained the muscle I had. Hats off to the Cellerciser. I will never go back to traditional exercise. And once you experience it, we all know what it's like. But for those who don't know, we encourage you, try what Cellercise can do. You know, you can lift weights away from gravity, but it's limited just to the muscle doing the lifting. And you can, it's not likely you're going to lift 100 times a minute, but that's what you're doing with the Cellerciser. Instead of lifting the weight away from gravity, you're increasing the weight of gravity, and it's weight bearing on every cell, every muscle, over 100 times per minute. How can you do that with traditional exercise? When you Cellercise, you use your own body as resistance. Notice my abs, and I don't do abs, but every time I jump, I use my core. I'm also tight and toned because every time I jump, I massage all 75 trillion cells in the body, pulling the skin in and detoxifying the lymphatic system. As you can see, I don't have cellulite. Cellulite is toxins in the cells that give you the cottage cheese-like effect. The greatest thing when you Cellercise is it is low impact, and you don't have to lift weights, stretch, do abs, or pump your lymph, defy aging, massage your organs and circulatory system. You build bones and muscles. You de-stress. You save time because you only have to work out a max of an hour. I do 10 minutes, she does an hour. We're going to do 20 minutes tonight. 20 minutes of Cellercising is like an hour of running. 1 hour of Cellercising burns 700 calories. You save money because you only need one piece of equipment, plus it is all in the convenience of your own home. She's 54 years of age when she took this picture. She says, I feel so healthy, youthful, and full of life. And I hope you can see this, but this is Donna, 54 years of age. You see her? Pretty good. All right. Okay, let's answer some questions. One question, I've been rebounding regularly for the past 7 or 8 weeks since I lost my job due to COVID because I'm a housebound, spend a lot of time on the computer. I have it I make it a point to bounce every hour. Okay, we read that one. Okay, we read that one. What are the other questions? Do you know what the question is? What? Thank you for that. Okay. I hear people Cellercising for a half an hour or an hour. I assume they are doing the workout and not just a health bounce. I am looking to just get my lymphatic system moving and flushing. I have been told that some areas of my body show lymphatic congestion. So if I did the health bounce for half an hour or an hour, what health benefits will I achieve? Well, the movement up and down on a Cellerciser moves fluid up and down at the same time. The lymphatic system holds a negative pressure, so it operates like a vacuum. As we move up and down, millions of one-way valves start sucking. Within a few minutes, you create this circuit of negative flow or circulation through the lymph system that's pulling that circulation through the bones, joints, and tissue spaces of the body. It's like taking a jar of water with a bunch of dirt clods in it. If the dirt clods represent congestion, and all of a sudden we start to move up and down, we're going to start to break up the dirt clods. And right now we're in horrible allergy season. I've been talking to people that don't ever get allergies, that have allergies. It's been tough, but when we Cellercise, we're going to challenge the that whole allergic arena. It does wonders for allergies. I'm looking forward to it tonight because I know how I'm going to feel afterwards. Okay. Or do I have to incorporate cardio to clear the congestion? The movement up and down can help clear it. Doing cardio can also activate even more intensity, so that can also help clear it. But doing the cardio also activates more of the immune system. Activates more of the white blood cells so that they can move more freely through the body, so your ability of those white blood cells to get after the foreign invaders is more effective. Is it safe to do the health bounce that long? How long will it take to clear up the congestion? Thank you. Oh, can't put a time frame on that, but everybody's different. It can be very quickly. It can happen over a period of time. Many people will turn on their favorite television show and just watch TV and bounce. And gently drink lots of water, because it helps to flush out the heavy metals, toxins, poisons, preservatives, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, formaldehydes, drugs, things we've been exposed to over the years. I've had 2 herniated discs in my lumbar spine, and they've just been a little achy after Cellercising. Any advice or tips or adjustments? I'd have to find out a little bit more about what movements you're doing on the Cellerciser, because the Cellerciser is very good at helping to expose weaknesses. And there are specific movements that we can do to help strengthen the supporting muscles and ligaments that around the joints, so that we retain more fluid and we don't have that pain. But if we're doing movements that are a little more aggressive, Cellercise might help to expose some of those weaknesses. But one of the advantages of Cellercise is, even though you're doing that, it's not like you're doing it on a hard surface. You don't have the jarring ballistic impact. It's much more gentle, so that if you irritate a nerve, the recovery time is generally much, much faster. They don't hurt while I'm on the Cellerciser, but ache a little while after. And that sounds like you're challenging your body. And as we challenge the body, it adapts and it can get stronger. But there are some weaknesses that are still there, so go easy. Love my Cellerciser. My IT band on my leg down through my knee is tight and getting tighter. I have added yoga stretches targeting that area to try to help. Any suggestions? Yes. If you are on a Cellerciser and you have a couch, can you see me, Brooklyn? If you're on a couch over here, and if you, or a table of some sort, if you're able to put your hands here and just jump up and come down, jump up, come down. That helps to really increase the flexibility and strength of the knees as well. So I hope that helps. And you can start off doing some of the other movements You can start off doing some of the other movements gently. Okay. What is a good exercise for bursitis in the hip, or maybe can we use the Cellerciser to work on trigger points? Thanks. You know, you can actually push in different areas with your fingertips while you're moving, and you can feel and you can do some of those trigger points and release them. Simple movements like this is excellent for the hip area. It loosens up the whole joint, increasing circulation and flexibility. I know you've addressed this before, but is it safe to use light weights such as 1 or 2 pounds while balancing? I don't. I tried that once. I regretted that for months. When you're using weights and you're bouncing with it, it isn't 2 pounds or 10 pounds or 20 pounds, depending on what you're doing. It's a lot more than that. And it can be a real stress on the, in between the shoulder blades. There's little fluid sacs that can be compromised, and it can take time to loosen it up. So if you do it, and there are people that do, just know that when you're bouncing, depending on how you're holding it or what you're doing when you're running, it isn't 1 or 2 pounds. It's more than that because you're bouncing with it. So be careful. If the JAMA run helps to get rid of cellulite on the thighs, is there a particular movement that gets rid of cellulite on the arms? The intensity on the arms is going to be more, and we showed it, the movement up and down or pushing down behind while you're bouncing and moving up and down. We want to increase the intensity so that the muscles are flexing and the movement is causing the skin and then the fat around the muscles to constantly be expanding and contracting, so we can start to break that up and increase circulation. If it's not too personal, I would like to hear you tell about all your injuries and how the Cellercisers made the difference. Well, I will go through a few of those because some of you may be dealing with this. When I was younger in college, I was showing off once with, we were going on a double date. I don't know, you have these tires, and these tires had this little bar that run through it, and you're supposed to get on your knees and roll out and then come back up again, so you're working the core. Well, I was going to show off. So I took that wheel and those handles, and I bent all the way down to the ground this way, and I started to go out. I went all the way out, and on the way back up, you could hear my shoulders crack, both of them. But I had these 2 girls there, and I couldn't stop, right? So I continued all the way up. From that point on, for 15 years, I couldn't throw a ball. I couldn't, my shoulders were not in good condition. And then I discovered Cellercise. And when I started, I would hold my shoulders like this, with my elbows in front, bounce up and down, and you can feel the shoulders doing this a lot. And so I would do this, and it felt good. And then I lifted them up over my head, and that felt good. And then out to the side. And I just kept doing that. Within a week, I couldn't believe the difference in how my shoulders felt. And now I've got complete flexibility in the shoulders again. I can throw a ball, right, left-handed, doesn't matter. So those movements, which are on the DVD, that helped me dramatically. When I broke my ankle, the following week I was supposed to be in Guam doing a demonstration at the University of Guam. And I slipped on the ice, tried to catch myself on ice, slipped again. You can't catch yourself on ice. It just creates more momentum. And so I broke the ankle pretty badly. I went to the hospital. They did the x-rays. They were going to put me in a cast. And I said, well, I've got to be in University of Guam next week. And they looked at me like, no, you can't go to Guam. I said, yeah, I need to go there. Well, we can't put a cast on your ankle. You're going to be 30,000 feet up in the air and it's going to swell. You just can't. I said, well, what else can you do? Well, we could wrap it and put a boot on, but no, I don't advise that. And I said, well, let's wrap it and put a boot on. And so they did. And I get to the University of Guam, and I'm hopping around. I've got my crutches, and I'm grabbing the Cellerciser and lifting it up and opening it up. And I'd get somebody from the audience, and yeah, it hurt. But that's what I was doing. And while I was there, I started holding my boot and my foot over the side of the Cellerciser, and I would bounce up. I have my crutch, and so I'd hold my crutch, but I would bounce up and down. Can you see? Just like this with the foot. Thanks, honey. The movement up and down would increase circulation, and that helps reduce swelling, promotes healing. And I was doing that for several weeks. Make a long story short, I ended up, the doctors saw how fast it healed. It healed so quickly that they ended up becoming my customers. So the doctors are my customers. And really nice people, by the way. Another time, I was dating my wife, and her daughter standing behind the camera, our daughter Brooklyn, and a lot of funny stories about family. But I was lighting a water heater that was gas, and Crystal called my name just as I was getting ready to light the pilot. She called my name and I turned. The moment I turned, the flame hit the gas which had built up inside this water heater, and it blasted out like a blast furnace, cooking my fingers like a hot dog. I mean, they looked like hot dogs. And it ran up the side of my arm and hit my face, and my son drove me to the hospital. 2nd and 3rd degree burns all over my fingers. And the doctor said I'd probably be, this was what? How old are you now? You're 18. This is 17 years ago, almost 17 years ago. And the doctor said I'd probably have arthritic conditions and scars. Went through the skin, they took the skin off and did all this stuff. And every day I would get on the Cellerciser and I would bounce up and down, holding my fingers straight down, because it promoted circulation. And to this day, there's absolutely no scarring anywhere at all. They're in fine condition. I believe the Cellerciser did that, and the doctors are amazed at it as well. So all of us, we could go on and on. We all have challenges. One of the keys of Cellercise is that it promotes circulation. It helps reduce the inflammation, and it helps promote healing. And there's many different approaches we can take. And if you have a specific issue, I'm happy to consult with you and your doctor. I'm not giving medical advice to anybody. I can't do that. But I teach doctors and I train doctors, and I'm happy to talk to yours. But if you have a medical condition, I have to tell you to consult with your doctor. All right, a couple more. Is muscle soreness the next day after Cellercising a sign that I did it too long? I usually feel that after 30-minute sessions, not 10 minutes. Thank you, Christine and Dave. Okay, Cellercise, if you've been doing that for about a month, rarely will you ever get sore, even if you do it all day long. Here's why. When you tear down to build up, or your body's got a lot of weaknesses in it, and you're trying to build them up, you can build up lactic acid, you can tear tissue while you're building it. But with Cellercising, you take the very weakest of your cells and you build up the cell membrane while you increase circulation, so you don't build up the lactic acid you normally would with typical exercise. So if you're getting sore at all, I'd like to know what it is you're doing on the Cellerciser, because it's generally, you can work hard and after a while you just you don't get sore like you generally would. And I don't think that's natural. When you tear down to build up, we're manipulating the body. It's nothing wrong, but when you're tearing down to build up, it's limited to certain areas of the body. Muscles, yes.
So she wants to Cellercise, but she gets rib pain every time.
She gets rib pain? Mm-hmm. Okay, then there may be another issue, and the Cellercise is, again, it's very helpful at helping to expose that. There are things that we can do with the ribs, especially if they're out of alignment. And you can see a chiropractor as well and kind of go through that process to find out, there's something going on. The Cellerciser exposes it. If you take the elbow and lift it up over your head and lean a little bit, you're going to open up the rib cage. When you open up the rib cage and gently bounce up and down, it helps to loosen up the tissue and increase circulation in between the rib cages. Makes it easier for a chiropractor as well. And you do the same thing the other direction, and that's just the beginning. And there's other movements we can do for the rib cage, but not knowing if it's something underneath the rib cage or if it's the ribs themselves or if it's a muscle, which it also could be. It's hard to say. So consulting or seeing a doctor can be really, really helpful. What is the point system about on the point system on the apps is to encourage you to go through it and know that by the time you reach the end, congratulations, you are now a Cellercise user and you should be experiencing some great benefits because you've reached that point. In the future, it might have another purpose. We'll have to see it when we get there. But, all right. So I know this is a little longer session than normal, but we kind of got cut short last week when we got disconnected from our Wi-Fi. We took a very squeaky unit that was really squeaky, and we oiled it once. You know, I probably could have done it again, but I wanted you to you know, hear the difference. And of course, this is the one that, you know, we use all the time, and it's nice and polished and smooth and quiet. So with that in mind, okay, on the Mr. Rebounder app, and I want to encourage people to put together programs you like and then send them to me. Just say, I do this movement for this amount of time, this movement for this amount of time, and just like we do on the Mr. Rebounder app, or take a screenshot of what you put together. And if you take a screenshot, just send it to me. Dave Hall at Cellercise.com, D-A-V-E, Hall at Cellercise.com. And if it's a good routine, we'll incorporate it into the routines that are available on the app. Eventually, we're going to be able to do this anyway. Everybody who's involved with the Cellercise family is going to be able to share programs in a social kind of library that everybody can go and look at. And we'll continue to grow and continue to develop these things. We'll have another one on for seniors tomorrow, and it'll be a senior aerobic activity. Okay, this activity is one that Brooklyn and Liberty have been doing every day now ever since we did the first program where we were showing some of the different movements on the Cellerciser. They've gotten pretty good at it, and they're looking pretty good too. So I'm going to, it's the second weight loss one under the advanced program. It's going to involve the health bounce, which is a warm-up for 30 seconds. Then we're going to do the twist for 30 seconds. We're going to do the power breathing to open up bronchial tubes in the lungs to increase oxygen in the bloodstream so we can burn more calories and have better metabolic processes. Then we're going to do the sprint intense for 1 minute. Now, I like to try to reach, for me, you know, about 120, and that's a good speed for me. You go easy, go at your level. Remember, we're not here to work out, we're here to play in. So play with it, have fun, challenge yourself as you feel comfortable, but don't try to keep up if it's too intense. And if it's too slow for some of you athletes, you get up to 130 or 140. Every time this leg comes down twice, that counts as one for me. Okay, health balance. We're going to do that afterwards for 30 seconds while we catch our breath. Then we're going to do the Jamba run. The Jamba run is going to really be intense on the thighs and building up the knees. And then we're going to do the health bounce for 30 seconds. Then we're going to do the Jamba run again. And the second time, you're going to start to really feel that if you haven't the first time. And that whole purpose here is to increase metabolic processes, but also to increase capillary growth. So women who want to get rid of cellulite, this is an excellent way to help do that, as well as burn calories. Then we're going to do the health bounce for 30 seconds. Then we're going to do the sprint intense again for a minute. Then we're going to do the warm-up hip rock side to side for 30 seconds while we catch our breath. Then we're going to do the Jamba run again for 1 minute. And so that's pretty intense, that first section. Then we're going to do the health bounce for 30 seconds. Then we're going to do the sprint moderate. Now on the sprint moderate, you can do it one of two ways. You're just going to run, lifting your knees up, tighten your core if you can remember to do that. If you tilt backwards slightly on that one, you leverage the weight right here in the stomach, and that's going to start to burn that as well. Then we're going to do the health bounce for 30 seconds. Then we're going to do the ski patrol for the hips, the thigh, inner outer thigh, both sides of the knee. Then we'll do the Jamba run for 30 seconds, not a minute, 30 seconds this time. We'll do the health bounce for 30 seconds. We'll do the twist for 30 seconds. We've gotten everything moving and circulating. Now we start to do the twist. Now we're working on the smooth muscles, digestion, elimination, liver, kidney, spleen, gallbladder, pancreas, adrenals, all those internal organs while we're loosening up the back as well. Then we're going to do one more of the power breathing so we have good oxygen in the bloodstream. Then we're going to do the sprint moderate again where you can tilt backwards. The health bounce for 30 seconds. Then we'll do the Jamba run for 1 minute. And Christine, if you are able, I don't know if you're able or not, to post this online, we can post it. I ask people not to put the whole routine on the app online because it's for people that have invested in the app. But I'm going to do it with you tonight so that you can watch me. Then we're going to do the health bounce for 30 seconds. Then we're going to do the sprint moderate. And then we're going to end up with a health bounce again. So all of that's going to take almost 20 minutes. And you ready? Let's have that. I'm going to take this. And, okay, health bounce for 30 seconds. And you can see this, right? All right. And I'll turn the music up first. No, it's up. Okay. Yeah, both of us in there. Come on. Oh, you're doing it. Can you turn the light off down there? Because I can't see the screen. It's in my eyes. Thank you, Bricky. Either way, that works. Thank you. Breathe in and out. You're getting that oxygen through the bloodstream. It's pumping. You're making it easier on the heart as we do it. Now we're going to do the twist. A couple ways of doing it. You can twist at the waist or you can twist in the hip socket with the waist, and that helps to loosen up the hips even more. And get ready because then we're going to do the sprint for 1 minute. And I won't be talking when I'm doing that. Oh, breathing. Okay. '29, 129. A little faster. Okay, breathe. So good for cardio. And now, if you have allergies, you shouldn't be feeling the symptoms. Let's do this. Okay, this is the jogging one where you can go slower, tilt backwards a little bit, tighten the stomach wall. Okay, we're loosening up the lower back and working the smooth muscles in the hips. It's a lot of fun to have the app keep you on track. I've been using it too, and it's okay, same thing. Okay, Brooklyn, you're going to have to show them how it's done. Health bounce. And now, for those of you who are still with us and you're on the Cellerciser, you should be doing pretty good now. Okay, whippy ski patrol. Shoulders come up and down, leg crosses in front. It creates stretch in the back. It loosens the hips. And we're working on the thighs and the knees. I usually do this. It goes about a minute and a half. So I count to about 50 on this movement, and then I do the ski patrol. And you're welcome, we could put that in there too, but I just remember. I ordered one of those wireless twist, those wireless Chromecast type devices, so I could plug it into this and you could watch it on the TV behind me. Unfortunately, something happened with the shipment because they never shipped them. So I'll try to order those again. And if we're still working in our homes, we'll have it set up here and behind me so you can actually see the movements. Breathing. And now we're doing, again, the stomach run, tilted backwards a little bit. Health balance, 30 seconds. What? The sound is off? It's on again? Oh, good. Jumbo run, 30 seconds, right? A minute, really? Oh, cool, another minute. This is going to generate heat. You want to try to keep your back straight, don't lean forward. Stay back, keeps the weight on the thighs. See, I do this, my metabolism goes too high and I lose too much weight. How you doing? Good? Good. Health bounce, 30 seconds, right?
Yeah,
And then kick. Front kick. The run. Yeah. Okay, well, this is the one where you can't lean back and run, right? Yeah. Yep. So just lean back and do this 30. A minute? Okay, we're going to do this for a minute. Having fun? Okay, health balance. And then what? Okay, this is it. This is the last movement. Catch your breath. Get lots of oxygen. And when we're done, if you want to carry on and do some arm movements, feel free. This has very much been aerobic. for burning calories, for losing weight, which is burning calories, for activating and improving the immune system, and what's the third one? Burning calories. Oh yeah, nailing allergy symptoms. So while you're on the Cellerciser, you should feel good right now. Allergies may come back. You just get back on the Cellerciser again. Do it several times a day. It really helps me and my family get through the allergy system, or the allergy season, more effectively. Thank you. Please share the Cellerciser with those you care about. And thank you for being a part and for sharing. And we will see you next week.